Hi, this is Dr. John Bennett from Miami Beach. We're broadcasting another Neurosurgery Super Sunday, as Web Chair usually does on Sunday. Let me introduce panelists first before we turn over to Ike. Hello, Khalif. Are you back?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, say hello to Ike.
Hello, Professor Ike. How are you? I'm Khalif from Kenya, currently in Zurich, Switzerland, for small vacation. Glad to be here.
He was with Dr. Gonzalez,
yes,
good friend.
In Alicante. I'm going back tomorrow to Alicante.
My regards to Pablo. He's my very good friend.
Okay,
Pablo
very
has
good.
been to Nepal and I have been to Alicante. He's my very good friend, Pablito. So tell my good regards to him.
I will.
Very good. Ahmed, could you introduce yourself to Ike, please? Go ahead, Ahmed.
Hello, my name is Ahmed. I'm a medical student from Iraq.
He's from Iraq. Very good. Hello, Sydney. Can you please introduce yourself? Sydney, are you back there yet? Perhaps not. We'll introduce him later, right? Okay, Ike, it's all yours, and thank you.
Okay, John. So I want to start by showing something which is pretty old, actually. You know about the Tesla coil? Have you heard about the Tesla coil anytime?
Yeah.
So this is what is the Tesla coil. So you can see that, you can see the Tesla coil and, can you see that?
Yes.
Yes, you can see this?
Yes.
This is an amazing thing,
Yes, we can see it.
It looks like a neuron establishing connections. It's really amazing. This is for the last 2 days. I have been, I've been wondering about. I saw this in a toy shop, and I've fallen in love with this. It's truly amazing. Now we keep this aside. Today we talk about hybrid neurosurgery, and I don't know whether the name hybrid neurosurgery is correct, but I would like to think new neurosurgery. Here is Goi who's joined up. So Goi, I was just talking to Goi about the new hybrid neurosurgery. In fact, we are partnering with one of the companies from China also for making things possible. Now, if you look at neurosurgery, we are truly in a primitive stage. We operate with instruments which should have been used about 50 years back. We have advanced so much with respect to many things like defense, computers, games, everything we have advanced, but neurosurgery is still primitive. Today, I was operating on another difficult ACOM using dissectors, clips, not very large craniotomy, maybe, but at least this much big craniotomy. And of course, it can be done. Actually, neurosurgery, if you give me a pen like this, I can do it. There is no problem because this is what neurosurgeons do. But this is not an ideal situation. Let us just start with microscope. Do you understand what is the microscope? It is a collection of prisms which will be around 10 to 15, maybe 20 kg. Okay? Why prisms? Because prisms don't have chromatic or minimum chromatic aberration. So lenses cannot be used, therefore prisms. So you have about 15 to 20 kg of prisms sitting on top of the patient. Now, how do you balance and move this? And that is about the whole microscope. The whole microscope is how to balance this 15-20 kg above your head, above the patient's head, and plus recording. This is all the microscope is about. Do we need it in this era? Do we really need it in this era? No. We have 4mm 3D endoscopes, which are HT+. We have cameras in phone. The S20 has come out with a 100x zoom. The Samsung S20 has come out with something which is, and the cameras are so small. It's if we can have a chip on the tip these days, we can manage these scopes in 1 centimeter. We can manage these scopes much better than the present microscope can. And if we can incorporate a robotic arm which is much smaller, or even a flex arm to start with, and in the higher end models, if we go to a robotic arm with accelerometer and gyrometer, so let's say there's a wristband on my wristband, there is this bracelet, and the bracelet gets activated, and once I do this, the microscope can follow these commands, and then the exoscope or the endoscope can follow this command. It's very easy because every phone like this has gyro, accelerometers, touch sensitivity, everything. So it's not something rocket science that I'm talking about. It's very easy. So if we incorporate, in fact, if we can have, instead of this shape of the phone, if we can have this phone as an exoscope, most surgeries can be done. We need a better camera though. So we have to incorporate the exoscope and the endoscope at least at 4K or 8K in 3D to a robotic, small robotic cam which is back drivable. Which is, what is back drivable? You can put it anywhere you want, and after that you can micro control it. And if it is about 10 millimeter, 1 centimeter, you can do surgeries through pots. You can incorporate an endoscope, see the same image, and also instead of the present navigation, you can have a virtual image reconstructed from the scan with a similar protocol, and then you can easily superimpose on the surgical field. This is not very difficult again. This is not at all difficult. Many applications in other fields are doing the same thing. So you have a real image. This is called mixed reality, which means in this room, I wear a glass and I can see many other people in this room. This is called mixed reality. So it is the same thing. Inside the brain, inside the skull base, I use mixed reality so that I can see where is the aneurysm. I can see what is behind the tumor, what is in front of the tumor. I don't have to put an endoscope and see, I already see it. So we use mixed reality with the scope. This would be the best scope in the world. And believe me, while a microscope like Kinevo costs $1.2 million, we can do it less than 1/4. Everything, navigation, 40 magnification, endoscope, everything can be done in 1/4 of this price. There is no need for giving money to these Western giants anymore. Because the biggest markets are India, China, Africa, and South America. So if you can get these things and can get these neurosurgeons trained in these countries, then there would be a rapid shift. There would be a huge shift. Right now, the companies make a lot of money. And because of this, 5-6 of the world's neurosurgeons are not really doing good microneurosurgery. If we can make something like this, if we can make something like the hybrid scope that I was talking about, there will be a shift of momentum. It is not just about this instrument. It is about training the whole world, most of the world, to do excellent neurosurgery. And again, now if you want to buy a craniotomy set or each set or each instrument, it is so costly. But I tell you, to make the best instruments for hybrid neurosurgery, one set is not going to cost more than $1,000. I believe me, because I have seen what Indian and Chinese instrument makers can do. And if we get them on board, along with the scope, we have things like water knife, drills, instruments for surgery through ports, everything in a very cheap price, and everything much, much better than what is in present. I have a theater which is probably one of the best infrastructures in the world. We have an intraoperative 3 Tesla MR. You can see in the background that we are using the poinsettia arm that we have for the endoscope. We have the entire OR1 Neo. We have the O-arm. We have the roof-mounted navigation. We have the spine suit. We have everything. But believe me, the new thing, that the new hybrid neurosurgery that we propose will be 1/10 or 1/20 of this price, and much, much better than what we have right now. You will see to believe it. And those guys who don't believe it right now, believe me, in 2 years, we will have this complete. And then we plan to set up labs in all parts of the world, like starting with Nobel. I want to start a lab. I want to start a lab in Beijing, where Hotra is there. I want to start a lab in Africa. I want to start a lab in South America. And we will train neurosurgeons, along with neurosurgical TV, we will train neurosurgeons in techniques, in these techniques. I might train in skull base and vascular. There will be guys like Schroeder who will train them in ventriculoscopies and other things. Endoscopic skull base, maybe Narayan or Franz Miranda or somebody like this. So we will train them in everything. So that you must always remember, the best way to take care of any country's neurosurgical need is not to have a fantastic infrastructure which is worth millions. Always remember, a fool with a tool is still a fool. So if you are sitting into evidence-based medicine and not studying surgery, you will always remain a fool. So the best way to equip a neurosurgical setup in a country is to train the neurosurgeon. A trained neurosurgeon can do most surgeries with just bipolar and suction. I can do. If you give me today's surgery also, it's very difficult. ECOM, we did just with one dissector, microscope. Of course, we need a microscope. Microscope, dissector, suction, bipolar, that is it. Nothing else. And clip, of course. That is it. That is all what is needed. Nothing else. No fancy infrastructure is needed. So we want to change the way neurosurgery is done. So we will make all these things in 2 years. We will make all these things. And as part of neurosurgery coach, we would train, we will start different chapters. We will train neurosurgeons, anybody who's interested in these skills. And we will also challenge these big companies so that we don't need the FDA or any other stupid regulations which will put you back by 10 years and a lot of money. We don't need that. We need things where the surgeons can operate with. I mean, we don't have FDA or things like that in these countries. Most of these countries don't use microscope. So it is better to have something rather than nothing. There are some people who even started operating with cell phone magnification in Africa. I hear that. There is no need for all this. So we make the exoscope, the hybrid one, which is much, much better. This is my idea. This is what I wanted to introduce this idea to you. Okay, maybe we are not as professional as some of the Western talkers. We are not as smooth, or we are not. We don't have the kind of the ability to sell things or convey ideas to you. But we want to change the world. We want to change the world because each neurosurgery patient everywhere in the world should get equal treatment. And for that, infrastructure and training is important. This is what we want. That is all I have to talk today. Thank you very much. Any questions and discussions? I mean, this is your world. And so all of you who has come here, Goe and the rest of the guys from Africa, the future is going to be different. It's not going to be going to different places in the West and watching surgery. It is going to be different. They are going to come to you because if you have the infrastructure, Kenya, Africa, South America, all these places, they will be leaders. Now in Nepal, we have neurosurgeons from all over the world coming and watching our surgeries. You don't need to have an infrastructure like this. With hybrid neurosurgery, you should have them coming and watching you. So the world should change. Okay, this is what my dream is. So, any questions, any comments, please?
Okay, very good. The floor is open. Khalif, what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, Prof's ideas are really radical. I think this is it's a call for a shift from what has been considered the standard for the last, I don't know, century. So if now we say we start a new way of doing things, probably that means we have to start reinvent the whole approach to neurosurgery from being a microscope-based, highly capital intensive, very complex, and only accessible to the few who can afford, and then bankrolling it to the common population, to all over the world. I think this is it's a huge idea. It's a big idea, and if it comes to fruition within our lifetime, I think it will be a very interesting thing. I'm looking forward to be part of that, and I'm hoping to visit Prof's place in this year.
2 years, not lifetime. I want it done, and Goe will help me. Goe.
2 years.
2 years.
Okay.
I will do it in 2 years.
Great.
Hey, Dr. Goe, can you please introduce yourself and welcome?
Thank you.
I will introduce Goe. He is like my brother.
Okay, hi, Dr. Goe.
Hello. Hi, John.
I know
Nice
him
to meet
for
you.
10 years. Yeah, I know him for 10 years. He's one of the best surgeons. He does routinely, he does basilar tops and all aneurysm. He's working in one of the biggest hospitals in Beijing, one of the nicest persons that you will meet, and very accessible, very nice, and one of the best surgeons. So I'm proud to be his brother.
Welcome, Dr. Goe.
Hi. How are you?
Very good. Welcome.
Thank you for supply that platform, and I like Ike's idea to combination of this equipment, microscope, endoscope, together, and I think this is a great idea, and the SAS Kinovo, the new microscope, is not the true integrate the combination of these things, endoscope and microscope. So I like Ike's idea, and but I think we should find a partner to design, for engineer to design these things to make it true. Because we supply the ideas, and we surgeons want to do something, and but we don't know how to do it. But engineers, they know how to do it, but they don't know what they think can use.
Well,
So we need to look for some engineers to help us,
well, you know,
make it real.
You know, Dr. Goy, this is a good platform for putting engineers together with neurosurgeons. This platform, because you know it's difficult for you to interrupt your day for an appointment with an engineer. And it's difficult for an engineer to come into the hospital, into the OR suites. However, this platform will allow you, I think, for engineers to interact with neurosurgeons. They get feedback.
Yes.
So that's what you're saying we need, like interaction between engineers and neurosurgeons. That's essentially what you're saying, right?
Yes.
Okay, well, we can use this platform. It's up to us to use it.
John, I have a group of engineers whom I have assembled in the last 1 year. And these guys will come to my OR. They are already starting to come to my OR and see things. And I also want the Chinese company with GOE is coordinating with. I also want them to come, and I will go to their company also. We will sit with them and we will tell them what exactly we need. And only through this marriage of engineering and neurosurgery can these things be produced. So this is what we are doing right now. There is no need for much capital or anything. We make this thing now. In the next 2 years, I want to make this thing somehow and start off experiments and cadaver lab experiments with it and start training people with it. And then we try, because exoscope is already tried. We have, in fact, we were the first people to do a CP angle, large CP angle tumor with the exoscope. The Carlstor 3D exoscope. They brought it into our institute, and we did a facial and it's now preserving surgery for a CP angle. So I am completely confident that with an exoscope and an endoscope together with the hybrid scope, we can easily start doing cases, small cases at first, and then maybe large cases, depending on. We will have to tell the ethical committee. We'll have to inform the patient. But much before that, first we start with the cadaver lab and we get comfortable with this first. And it's a visualization tool. It's not, most people don't do things with microscope. And it's a visualization tool. We always have our microscope and endoscope as backup. So we try to do simple surface meningioma and other things to start it off with. And after that, we can get into, if we are comfortable with it, we can get into other things. And let's see how things go.
Yeah, I'd like you to be put in touch with those engineers, so maybe we can arrange a webcast or whatever. Do you talk to them frequently, Ike? The engineers, do you talk to them much, or?
Yeah, I go to they have a lab in Pune. These guys, the Indian guys have a lab in Pune. And I go there and I spend 1 or 2 days there. It's amazing what they can do, actually. And yeah. Same way they come to my theater and they spend time here and they understand what we need, because each instrument made by an engineer without consulting the neurosurgeon or half consulting the neurosurgeon is really idiotic. And this is why the queues are, many things have been made in such a way that it's not really helpful for us. Mm-hmm. So we are changing everything, okay? We are changing we are making a water knife, we are making a mechanical queues. It's really interesting what we are making right now. We are making even a tumor tunneler, which means something which a catheter robot which gets into the center of a tumor and starts tunneling out the tumor, just like a large, tunneler. Have you seen a robot which digs tunnels? It's like that. This tunneler will go into the center and take off all the tumor, leaving only the capsule, which can be easily removed, in any location. So we are making a tumor tunneler, we are making water knife, we are making so many more things that with these engineers. So this is what hybrid neurosurgery is about. We are trying to change the way neurosurgery is done for much better ergonomics and much better ease of surgery.
Well, I'd like to be put in touch with those engineers. Maybe they could do a presentation of what they're doing and what they have, and get some feedback. Maybe we could arrange that. Please put me in touch with them.
Maybe next Super Sunday, if it's possible for you, we should call Jason, Goi, and Hotrai. Hotrai is the company from China, and then the EasyGo navigation from India, the Hepson's instruments from India, and the Manman instruments from India, who makes the power tools and all that. So these companies, if we can call them, they are the people that I am collaborating with, and we will be able to show you some of the prototypes and some plans easily. For maybe next Super Sunday, you can have hybrid neurosurgery too. And then we can get Jess and all of these guys together.
Yeah. Please put me in touch with them. We'll get them on camera and talking. We did the same with Google Glass. You remember Google Glass, right? Yeah, we had a few webcasts where we had the Google people on with the doctors, and they were kind of talking. It showed potential, you know, of an interacting platform and a learning platform. So we can start that way.
Yeah, sure. Goi, for next Sunday, do you think you can get the HOTRI representatives onto this platform on Zoom? If you can do this, then maybe I can get all the Indian guys also on the platform, and then we can do a Super Sunday. We will talk about the different projects that we are doing. I don't care about patent. I don't care about if somebody will copy us and make money. It doesn't really matter. Because I want everybody to copy, and I want everybody to make it. This is the only way the world will change. It is not about me making money or somebody else making money. The world has to change. That is why all our ideas will be open source. We will not do any patenting. We will not worry about discussing our ideas openly. Let anybody make it. No problem. Okay?
Okay. And after you set the next Super Sunday meeting, and I will send it to HOTRI guys to invite them to attend. Okay.
Okay, excellent.
And HOTRI guy just said to me they are worrying about the CE marking, about this new hybrid equipment, because they think about the marketing. I think that we should first invite the engineer or scientist from university.
Okay.
After the prototype was designed to get, and we can invite the manufacturers to join.
Okay. However you think it's possible, we can do it. No problems at all. I will keep on doing this work. We will keep on building like a pyramid. At the top, we join together.
I don't think you've met Lukuya yet from Uganda. Lukuya, can you hear me okay? Can you unmute yourself and introduce yourself? Go ahead, yeah. Lukuya. Go ahead.
I can hear you.
Go ahead, introduce yourself to the panel, please.
So I've been really amazed to read this topic of today. Listen to the new approach where we want really to get involved engineers also as part of the planning of the advancement of neurosurgery in Africa. I think we still have a way to go. Be honest, as an African, because of the cost implication, and then maybe as Khalifa has also noticed, we shall be working on the national level how to make like neurosurgery procedure more affordable, but also to try to have excellent centers, and that way we can like do a bit more than what we're doing. Yeah, that's my comment on it.
Yeah, Lukuya is from Uganda.
Yeah, we are neighbor with Kenyan.
Okay, and Musindo, you haven't introduced yourself yet. Musindo is from Mozambique, the home of Dr. Izadi, correct? Go ahead, Musindo.
Hello.
He's from Mozambique.
Yes, I'm Augusto Musindo from Mozambique, resident of neurosurgery.
Welcome, Musindo. He's a frequent visitor of these webcasts.
Yeah, and Mozambique and Christian.
In spite of bandwidth issues, he still comes. Okay, any other comments from the panelist? Ahmed, as a medical student, I guess this issue is a little different than usual of how to make microsurgery available to the 5/6 of the world. It's doable, right? It's doable.
Yes, it is.
Okay, I will start things off. If you could give me the name of one engineer, if I just get in touch with one engineer and get him on the screen to start. Otherwise, it'll take a long time to get organized. Do you know what I mean? Just to get the ball rolling. One engineer that I talk to, that we, you know, rather than having a big conference, just start small with one engineer. So, okay, very good. Any other comments well, I have a question, Dr. Goyi. How are things over there? How are things? Are you restricted to staying in the hospital, or is it pretty well you can walk around okay?
Yes, we have some prohibition of the like social
Functions.
yes, and but the supermarket is open, and we can buy anything, and the food is not shortened, and we go to the hospital every day, and but we stopped the routine surgeries and only accept emergency cases, and but now the situation is getting better and better, and the cases less and less, and I believe before May, at the end of the April, the coronavirus should be settled in China.
Great. Are all the conferences being canceled in neurosurgery? Do you know if they're being canceled in China?
Well, you mean the meeting?
Yeah, the meetings, the big conferences.
Yes.
The big conferences
Yes,
are being canceled.
Yes, they are postponed. But,
postponed. Okay.
Yes, postponed.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Okay, thanks everybody for coming, and we look forward to meeting with some engineers and more neurosurgeons in the future. And thanks, Ike.
Thank you so much.
Actually,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, John. Thank you.
Thank you so much.